Hello and welcome. Saskia, Devotional Goddess here. It's been a little while since I did a post, so I just wanted to check in and share my thoughts to date. There's been a lot of reflecting that I've been doing over the last month, and I needed this time just last month just to withdraw, to conserve my energy. There was a lot that was happening on the home front, and I needed to conserve my energy and keep it for me and my girls, and that was my self-care, was really retracting. Does this sound familiar? Have you been noticing that that's what your needs have been too? And if so, are you able to honor them in small or large ways? It is so key right now for us to honor our own energy, honor our own space, and withdraw when needed. Now, some of the ways that we can have the heads up that we are depleted is through our mental state. I can get snappy and sharp when I'm tired. When I'm not getting enough rest, when I'm not making sure that I'm going to bed on time so that I have enough sleep so that when I wake I feel rested. Last month I was working in a toxic situation, and it was really important to me to get more sleep. And even when I did have a good night's sleep, I still woke up exhausted, because there was so much I was still processing mentally, not just physically. So sometimes our exhaustion is that it's mental, that we're holding so much that a lot of our energy is being taken up with the processing, with the digesting, with the analyzing, and just with the sustaining. Do you know when it is the difference of physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion? This became clearer to me this month. So now that I've voiced it, start to look around on your landscape. When your life gets busy, when your life is stressful, when you're working with difficult people, when you're physically doing more things, what is your fatigue? How does it translate? Is it mental? Is it physical? Is it emotional? This is an important distinction, because in that awareness of seeing and understanding that, then we have a greater idea as to how to correct course, but also it allows us to be more compassionate for ourselves. It also allows us to hold that loving space and saying, you know what, you are holding an awful lot right now. Give yourself that time. Make more time to rest, to lie on the floor, put your legs up the wall. If you've had a very physical, busy, active day and you're like, oh my God, my legs are so tired, lying on the floor with your buttocks as close to the wall as you can. It depends on how open or how flexible your hamstrings are, which will determine how close you can get your buttocks to the wall. And your legs up against the wall. Tying a belt or the strap of a bathrobe or whatever you have around the thighs will help release the hold in the thighs. And just lie there for 10 minutes or so. My Lexus just fell off. Just lie there for 10 minutes or so. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes I lie there for 20 minutes. It's very luxurious. But the spine resting on the earth brings a layer of grounding, because more of your physical body is in contact with the earth. And then having your legs higher than your heart is very soothing to the heart. If you have a pillow or a bolster and you do not have high blood pressure, You can elevate the buttocks by sliding a bolster or a pillow or a blanket under the buttocks so that the hips are slightly higher than the heart. And that will be another layer of deeper relaxation. And it will actually be soothing to the heart because there'll be more pooling of blood in the heart, and it actually will allow for support in the heart. But not if you've got high blood pressure. Do not raise the hips higher than the heart if you have high blood pressure. All right. So coming back to these techniques that help us and support us when we are tapped, when we are stressed, when we are stretched. Is it just taking a cup of tea and just looking out the window and listening to the bird song? Is it being out in nature a little more? Right? Is it sitting on the couch reading a book, even for 20 minutes? We don't have to block out a whole afternoon, but we need to take our time for ourselves. And it can just be in 10, 20 hour increments. But do it consciously, because it's really easy to whittle the time away. And we do, because we have phones and very tempting things on our phones like Instagram and TikTok and WhatsApp and Facebook and what have you. And it's so easy to get drawn into the vortex of the phone. That's why it was made. It was made to do that. It was made to distract us and to make our lives easier. But where does that separation live? Where does it distract us and where does it make our lives easier? And how can we extract the two, use the phone to make our lives more efficient and easier, and minimize the distraction so that we have more time for ourselves to drop in and say, what do I really need now? You know what? I need to put my legs up the wall. I need to curl up on the couch with a book and just pick a book and open it wherever and see what text is there. Sometimes I do a little prayer and say, please guide me. Whatever I need to know right now, may it be shown to me. And I just open a book. And it is always on point. It is always something that is beneficial for me to hear. So these are important times for ourselves, especially now, especially at this time right now. How do you care for yourself? How do you take time for yourself? Contemplate on that and write it down. If you feel called to, write it down. See what comes up for you. Just 5 things. If you're like 5, 3, 2, it will grow in time. Remember, where you put your attention, your energy follows. So if you start to put your attention on what nurtures me, what is upping my self-care, where do I distract myself and where can I choose to reallocate that time for another area in my life, for another activity? And start to make those conscious decisions. Because upping our self-care is what is going to give us the sanity, the grounding, the steadiness, the connection to self that we need right now. Because it's in that connection to self that we can more readily see what triggers us in our world at large. And again, we expand upon that discernment as to what is necessary to take in our environment and our news and our media, and what is not. Over the last 3 years, I've become a lot more discerning as to what I put my time into listening. Oh, no, that is causing fear within me. I'm not listening to that. My well-being is the most important, and only I am in control of that. Because I can choose what comes into my mental space and what doesn't. And that supports my mental and emotional well-being. I can choose what comes into my space and what doesn't. Yes, in a work environment, there are people that you might need to work with who are toxic. But that might be the case in your private life too. I was just breaking that down to my children the other day, because it has been suggested to them that another school will be better. But you know what? Yeah, there are some schools that are better aligned for some children. But I believe where they are is good. And the grass can always be painted as greener on the other side. And regardless if you are in school, if you are working, if you have family members, there will always be people in our environment who can be challenging until we have worked out that karma with them. Until we have healed all the parts within us so that it doesn't trigger us anymore, so that it doesn't hurt, so that it doesn't throw us off balance and we snap under pressure, so that we can have the bandwidth to hold life and all that it throws at us. So yes, sometimes we do need to remove ourselves from certain situations that are toxic and not for our highest good. But there are also times that can be in tandem or independent that we need to leave, recalibrate, and start afresh. Part of my withdrawal last month was a recalibration. It was really incredibly difficult. It has been an incredibly difficult 8 months. Longer than that with the cancer journey, but it was a different kind of difficulty. That was a health crisis. The last 8 months was working with someone I have deep karma with, that I needed to find my own empowerment within that situation. And I needed to stay steady and strong and stay on path and stay on task and hold my own without making this other person wrong or bad, but witnessing this person is here to teach me this. And boy, is it uncomfortable. But I am rising to the occasion. I will learn this lesson. I will become stronger from it. And I will move on. And this person will teach me how to be indifferent, how to bless them and say, I'm sorry that you're so unhappy in your life, but you don't get to make my life difficult anymore, because I've moved on. I've moved on and I've moved up. I've taken the lessons. I've taken the learnings. And now I can witness it. And there's a lot more space between us, energetically, emotionally, physically, that I can remove myself and still interact with you, but not from a place that hurts me, that I feel hurt, that I feel attacked, that I feel disempowered. It's not the case anymore. Yes, there are some strands still. Yes, I will continue to work on it. Of course, this person's still in my life, so I will have ample opportunities to continue to refine this lesson that I have chosen to have with this person, that my soul, our souls, chose to have. And I will continue to grow and continue to hold compassion for this person, but not disable them so that they don't get the opportunity to do their work. I will do it from afar. And I will still hold the intention for the highest good for them, even though some of the behavior has been rather despicable or unacceptable. It has given me an opportunity to rise up, to feel more empowered, to be more truthful to myself. And in doing so, I can forgive. Or at least not be triggered, not be affected. And I can hold compassion. There's no condoning of the actions, but there is peace right here in my heart. Peace within me, and knowing that if this person knew any better, they would have done better. They would have made other choices. But at this moment in time, they're not capable of seeing beyond their own traumas. And I can hold the space for compassion, but I will no longer be part of certain interactions. All of this that I have spoken about today, the moving through difficult situations, the holding of your own, the self-care. If you're this far into the video, it has touched you somewhere. You are drinking up what I have been sharing. It is resonating somewhere within your being. And I'm glad, and I hope it is helpful. And this is how I work with my women. I help them go through these big life transitions, assisting them, supporting them through this transition to find more comfort, more confidence, more safety within, more resilience, more strength. So if any of this resonates and you feel called to work with me, it would be my honor to work with you too. All the links are below. Just follow the Linktree link and book a session with me, and it would be my pleasure. If you know anybody else in your environment, you're like, oh no, this is the person I want to work with, but on these topics, do it. Do it. We need support now. We need to rise up. We need to find that shift within us, that peace within us to move forwards. Many blessings and much love. Bye for now.